Haircuts are one of the most effective ways to change up your look, but that's also why it's important to pick the right one. Some styles can end up adding years to your look, such as super retro cuts or unflattering bangs. Keep watching to see common haircut mistakes that can make women look older. The bouffant. Bouffant is technically a hairstyle, but hair is sometimes cut to make the look easier to achieve daily. A prime example is First Lady Betty Ford. While her do was famous in the 70s, it would only serve to age women nowadays. The outdated look can make it seem like they're from an older era. Plus, styling a bouffant involves teasing hair and using a ton of hairspray, two things that can damage hair over time. The Farrah Fawcett cut. As fantastic as Farrah Fawcett looked with her feathered hair, the style screams 1970s. As a result, women who are still rocking this look can end up appearing older in age. Oh, and listen, I won't tell you the proper way to pick up your honor with the style, but I will give you a couple other ways, since they suggest that the person wearing it is still stuck in a past era. The good news is that there are plenty of feathered hairstyles that capture the essence of Fawcett's look but have a modern twist. Super long hair. As hair ages, it can become brittle and difficult to grow out. That's why some may think that growing it long is the way to go, as it is a sign of youth. While it's true that long hair is impressive in older women, that doesn't mean it's flattering. Even hair that continues to grow long over the years can thin. The longer the hair, the more it is weighed down, resulting in less volume. Oh, and super short. With age, hair can become thinner and more challenging to style as years of damage start to add up. Those who are done fussing with their locks may be tempted to chop them off. While a close crop hairstyle doesn't require any maintenance, it does put all of the attention on the face. That means there is nothing to cover up or distract from fine lines, saggy skin, discoloration, and other normal signs of aging. A bob with bangs. Bobs are a go-to for many women, but they can have a dark side, especially ones with bangs. The problem is how blunt the haircut is, which creates a line right at the jaw. This can bring attention to a sagging face and lines around the mouth. Likewise, blunt bangs across the forehead draw attention to wrinkly eyes and crow's feet. Instead, go for a long bob, parted to the side, and skip the bangs. The Chelsea haircut. The Chelsea haircut emerged in the 80s as a variation of the male buzz cut. It features buzzed hair in the back and longer hair around the face. The punk style makes a statement on younger ladies, but it can be unflattering for aging women. Aside from making someone look like they're stuck in the 80s, the cut can also draw attention to loose skin around the neck. Additionally, the longer hair in front can point to crow's feet and a sagging jawline. The front flip. The front flip is a hairstyle that requires hair to be short on the bottom but long on top so that it can flip straight back. While stars like Pink have popularized the look, it can be aging. Pulling the hair straight back makes the forehead and the eyes the focal point. Since fine lines tend to stand out in those areas, it can end up making you look older. Plus, it can make thinning hair more obvious. Bangs near the eyes. Bangs can be a cute addition to a haircut. but it's all about finding the right style. Bangs that hit at or just above the eyes can end up adding years. That's because they draw attention to fine lines and crow's feet. Alternatively, haircuts that don't include bangs leave the forehead exposed so that the face as a whole is illuminated. As a result, there's more for the eye to look at, so fine lines don't steal all of the attention. Keeping hair one length. With how many things can go wrong with haircuts, it may seem like keeping it all one length is the safest route to take. In actuality, doing so can end up making the hair look flat and lifeless. Plus, single-length hair is often cut with a middle part, which can be unflattering against aging faces. Instead, add a few subtle layers around the face to help keep it lifted. Have the shortest layer hit the cheekbone for a more youthful look. Long layers. Since long hair can appear flat, some will add in layers that keep the length while adding texture. These long layers are typically done to add volume, but that isn't always how it works. The only way long layers will give hair more body is if it's thick enough. Hair that's too thin will end up looking super thin near the bottom since there isn't much to work with. It would be better to limit the layers and cut the hair shorter. Short spikes. Short spiky hair may look fantastic on rebellious young ladies and prepubescent boys, but it doesn't do any favors for mature women. While the look has a ton of youthful spunk to it, it can draw attention to thinning hair. While the spikes add volume, they also clump hair together, making bald spots more noticeable. Plus, this kind of haircut often requires chopping off thinning hairs to create enough layers for spikes. Instead, keep layers to a minimum. Pin-up curls. Pin-up curls look fantastic when dressing up for a time period party, but otherwise they can seem out of place. This hairstyle is well known as being retro thanks to celebrities like Marilyn Monroe, so makes the wearer seem like they're from an older generation. These curls most often appear on those with short or shoulder-length hair, so consider growing the hair out a little and doing loser curls for a more modern twist. Wearing unrealistic hair extensions. Hair extensions can be a great way to add volume and length to hair. They work on various hair lengths and can accommodate plenty of different styles. This makes them popular among older women. However, be sure that the extensions match the rest of your look. If an older woman with thinning hair opts for very coarse hair extensions, they can end up looking fake and aging her more. The same is true for wigs. Baby bangs. Baby bangs are those that are shorter than the average fringe to expose more of the forehead. While the name implies that it is a youthful cut, baby bangs can actually age you. That's because they create a solid line straight across your forehead. This can mimic fine lines and in doing so bring attention to them. Plus, the look is very bold and bound to stand out, making it seem less natural and carefree. Too many layers. Whether you go with long layers or short layers, be sure not to overdo it. Layers can add shape and body to hair, but going too far can have the exact opposite effect. The more layers you add, the thinner the bottom of the hair will look. Shorter layers can also be unflattering on different hair types, so don't judge the look based on how it appears on someone else. Consult with a stylist first. Pixie cuts. Pixie cuts are one of those retro hairstyles that are still trendy as ever. That's why more and more women are trying them out. At the same time, it may not be worth it if you're worried about looking older. Pixie cuts are so short that they don't leave any hair to cover wrinkles or other imperfections. They can also make younger women appear older, since they tend to be more popular among the older crowd. Wispy bangs. Wispy bangs are those that don't cover the entire forehead, but rather leave intentional spaces for a more carefree look. The problem is that these gaps can draw attention to any fine lines poking through. Additionally, the bangs are thin in nature, which isn't ideal for someone who's trying to make it less obvious that their hair is thinning. Instead, go for side bangs that hit at the cheeks to show off your bone structure. Short curls. Short curls can look great on women who have the volume for it, but they can be detrimental to those who don't. The ringlets cause hair to clump together, which can actually highlight bald spots instead of covering them. Plus, short curls are a lot of maintenance, since they can easily become distorted just from sleeping on them. It's also important to make sure that the curls hit the face right, so they don't draw attention where it isn't wanted. Skunk highlights. These skunk highlights are straight out of the early 2000s and will definitely age a person by a few decades at least. While the hair colors this lady chose are very pretty alone, the thick, bold, and skunk-like highlights are too much for anyone to wear. Honestly, leave the skunk look in the early 2000s where it belongs. Staying in your comfort zone. Some women find a hairstyle that they look early on in life and stick with it over the years. While it may sound like staying in your comfort zone is playing it safe, it can actually age you. One of the best ways to cut back years is staying up to date with the trends. Having a haircut that fits the era and is flattering is the ultimate way to reclaim a youthful look. The undershave. The undershave is a style that involves uzzing off the hair at one side of the head and leaving the rest long. Though the look was a relatively recent trend, it still is outdated and can age a woman. Plus, the undershave looks like it was borrowed from the 80s, so it isn't worth trying to pull off. Not to mention, if you don't like the cut for whatever reason, the only way to start over is to buzz it all off. A short wedge is so versatile. This is just a great, versatile, and easy to wear look. The version that the model is wearing in this photo is exceptionally wild and flirty, with crazy layers flying everywhere, as if she is cruising down the highway with her pals to spring break in her convertible Beamer. You'll be surprised at all the different looks you can pull off with this haircut. There are so many ways to style it. Add fullness with a shag. This shaggy bobby affair is a great way to create fullness for those of us with thin hair. Its layers and length allow for added volume effects to be achieved with a round brush, a little product, and some heat. Throw some highlights in for added dimension. Meg Ryan has rocked variations of this dough throughout much of her career. Fun fact, Ryan's iconic style was actually a happy accident, and she inadvertently singed off a significant chunk of her hair during rehearsals using an active curling iron for the movie French Kiss. Sleek and silver. This photo is a great example of the impact hair color can have on a cut. This adorable short style would look great on many women in a variety of age groups, but the elegant silver color really makes it stand out from the crowd. One problem that silver tracks people run into is yellowing. If you see any yellow tints coming out in your hair, use a special purple shampoo. First, get your hair wet, then apply the shampoo, leave it in for the time recommended on the bottle, usually somewhere from 5 to 30 minutes, then rinse it out. Can't go wrong with a classic. The bob came into fashion for women in the 1920s with the advent of the flapper craze. Young, liberated women loved the controversial style as it represented their changing philosophy on personal expression and freedom of choice. But bobs are not just for the kids. A bob can help accentuate your best facial features as well as save time spent messing with your hair when you first get up in the morning. A great choice for active women. A well-done, close-cropped hairstyle is great if you are super active and just want to get up and go option. And if you have the much coveted curls, then it's even better. There was a time when society may have deemed a shortcut on a woman as blasphemous or unladylike, but luckily those days are long gone. Everyone can benefit from the flattering effects that showing off your face and head shape can create.